He asked a question.
I know,
Alrighty.
and I blame Tom, but then whoa, you guys just,
Oh,
I asked
you
Tom
ready?
what he was doing.
You
Okay.
ready? Rewind. You ready? Tom,
Right.
I don't know if it was 12 hours or 24 hours, but the question we were all asking ourselves was, how do we get leverage, right? So we're a coaching company. We have grit. We have one-on-one coaching. We have group coaching. And we're recruiting, right? So we meet regularly, weekly, to talk about how to get leverage in our business, which is a great question for you all to be asking in your business, other than doing the lead generation activities that get you your results. The other question is how do I get leverage? Showing up to this call is leverage, right? Because you don't have to do this business alone. You can align with other leaders and masterminders and thinkers and supporters, and that gives you leverage in your business. And we were saying, well, what can we do to get leverage for our coaching company, to get leverage for grit, to get leverage for one-on-one and for group coaching? And we said, gosh, it would be great if one of us could speak at Build. And we all looked at each other and said, Tom, you have the most leverage, the most connections. What can you do to get on the stage at Build or any other large event like that? And he goes, I don't know. Who can we call? We can call Brent. We could call Gene. Like, we could reach out to people. We can network through our group. 12 to 24 hours later, and we know Tom doesn't work that fast. 12 to 24 hours later, Tom messages back and goes, hey, they're asking me to be on a panel. We're like, what? Right? Because we're always looking for leverage. So it's a great question that you can ask for your business all the time. Like, for instance, can I use a transaction coordinator? Maybe not full time, but maybe I have 2, 3, 4 contracts under agreement at the same time. I don't really like giving up my money, which is whatever. That's a whole different question. But maybe for these 4, I'm going to use the benefits of a transaction coordinator to help me navigate through this so that I can have more time. I would argue if you don't like giving up your money to a transaction coordinator, you don't have the right transaction coordinator, because the right transaction coordinator will change your world, right? So if you don't like this one, try another one. You don't like that one, try another one. But I promise you, there are transaction coordinators out there that the agents that they serve go, oh my God, everything is easier because this person is so amazing, helps me do what I need to do. So Tom, 12 to 24 hours, answer your question.
That's awesome. So listen, I want you to think about 2 words. What if and would you? What if and then would you? These 2 words, I want everybody to start taking a shift in their mindset. And there's nobody better that talks about mindset than Fred, right? So what if and would you, right? So as we go through today's presentation, I really want you to think about those 2 questions, what if and would you? And there's 5 reasons you do not have a listing-based business. Number 1 is if you're on a team. If you're on a team and you'll work with the buyer leads, fantastic. How does the team lead get buyer leads? Well, I'm going to go through a presentation today that when I first started in real estate, I said, George, I'm working with so many buyers. He goes, good, you're going to burn yourself out quick and I'll have more time with you to run my nightclub. Because I was running a nightclub, guys. We do 10,000 people a week. They loved me. They loved, because my dedication, I was always there. I made good money. I met a lot of people and I was very loyal and I was a great partner with them. And he said, I don't want you to succeed at real estate. And he started laughing. He goes, Tom, listen, I've been in the real estate business a very long time. Here's my background. And I was blown away because I didn't realize he was in the real estate business in the 60s and the 70s. He said, Tom, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Shift your mindset. Listers last. Listing agents last. If you are just a buyer's agent and focusing on buyers only, without being on a team, obviously, you will go through burnout that quick. So this is going to be very critical. So what if and would you? What if and would you? So 60 60,000 agents have left the business in 2023. 60,000. Now, what if they were listing agents? Do you think they'd still be in the business? Okay. What if they were on a team that supported them with leads and everything else? Would they still be in the business? Probably. Every 3 minutes and 37 seconds, one of your peers in the real estate business is leaving. And I know most of you are going, yeah, good, more opportunity for me. Here's what I say. Here's what I say. How short-minded are you? Because the reality is, if the more agents that stay in the business can create more opportunity, it just sharpens your skill set, right? You have to be sharper in order to get your fair share. So stop complaining. There's too many realtors in the business. Maybe you're one of those too many realtors. Might be something to think about. Some of you are probably going, wow, that was a crappy statement, Tom. But the reality is this. If you're so worried, if you're so excited about other realtors getting out of the business so you get more opportunity, no, that's not what you need to be thinking about. You need to be thinking about, what are you going to do to sharpen your skill set, your mindset, and your habits to get your fair share. See, not all realtors are the same, because if they were all the same, they'd get the same result. Here's where realtors lack: listing realtors. If you want to be a listing agent, I really want you to listen to this, okay? What if and would you? So I'm gonna mention those words a lot through this. So there's 5 reasons you're not. If you look at your business, when I pull reports on individuals, I go, all right, how many listings did they close and how many buyers did they close? If I see someone that closed, in brokers, I look at brokers too. If it's 60-40, 60% buyers, 40% sellers, that's a very fine line that tells me they're paying for a lot of leads and they're not focused on growing an actual business. If they're 50-50, that tells me that they are running a strong real estate business. If they're 60% listing heavy and 40% buyers, that means they need some more agents to take on the buyer leads that are coming in from the listings. Not a bad problem to have. The problem is, where do we find talent, right? So that's another whole nother call that we would do. So 5 reasons you don't have listings. It's important that you build a real estate business on listings to generate ongoing, reliable growth. Listers last. So the number one reason you don't have listings, or the number one reason you do have listings, is you either know the market or you don't. I can walk down, listen guys, and I'm not really selling anymore. It's my wife. Honestly, I can walk down my street and I can go into the next community. I know what model the home is. I know the square footage. And I know what the house would sell for and a good estimate based on interior condition. I have market knowledge. I know the market. Are you confident in understanding of the history and the trends of your local market? So I can tell you, in 2009, when I had over 50 listings, 50 listings, that sat there. That sat for at least a year before it went on the contract. I knew what the market was. I knew what would sell. Even if you priced it competitively, even if you offered 5% co-broke, 10% co-broke, it didn't matter. We were offering BMW leases and everything else. Think outside the box, but know your market. The more you know your market, the more opportunity you have. So if I'm walking down the street and I see Valencia up the road, who is an attorney for Bethune-Cookman, and she says, hey, Tom, how's the market? I said, fantastic. You know what? You probably have about 200,000 in equity in your home now because you paid 500 and it's probably worth about 7. Can you do that? I'm not telling you know the entire MLS market. What I am telling you is study your local market enough to where you don't get upset that another sign goes up across the street from you. All right. So number one, market knowledge. You have to study the market. How can you study the market? Look in the MLS. Every month, MLSs either have a magazine that goes out or a market report. Find out where that is. Call your local MLS board and go, hey, how do I get market results monthly and year to date? And go to a class. Well, that's one thing that you could do too. Invest in yourself, right? So here's another one. Here's another reason you don't have listings, or you do have listings. Ariel is called Top Listing Agent. That's what his brand is, right? Ariel, I don't know if Ariel's on the call, but Deep, I've seen Deep. Deep, is that what Ariel calls himself? I don't know if Deep is still there or if he's muted. Anyway.
Yes, he's Mr. Listing.
Yes, he is, correct? Mr. Listing.
Yep.
So,
Yes, he is.
okay, so here's where a lot of realtors fall short and very few are way above. They have a unique selling proposition. A unique selling proposition. Do you have a clear and unique reason why a homeowner should list with you? And if you say, oh, list with me, I'll give you a discount. That's not why people hire people. It's not about commission, guys. It's about the value and the selling proposition you bring someone. See, up the road from me, this lady, they went through a divorce and the attorney recommended this realtor. They lost over $100,000 by going through that agent. Number one, it wasn't marketed. It was done with a cell phone. She only took one picture. There was no activity on it. So the house sat on the market, which gave the buyers more room to negotiate. So that agent should lose their license. Okay. Do you have a clear and unique reason why a homeowner should list with you? If the answer is no, you're not alone. The lack of a selling proposition is why so many agents take so few listings. And by the way, in your selling proposition, at the very end of the presentation, ask Ali Partovi. I sat with him and went through this with him before. So it's kind of what's that one? He was like a inspector, and he'd get up from the table. He goes, oh, one more thing. What was that? It's an older series. Anyway. Columbo. So great. Who said that? Ali? Yeah. So Columbo says this. Oh, one more thing. Right? And he nails them. Ali, thank you for the opportunity to come here. I just have to ask one question. What's stopping you from hiring me right now? You're not asking the question. Not you, Ali. I'm just saying in general. Every agent that goes on a listing appointment, I'm not saying every, very few will ask for the business. And they leave the appointment and they go, Robert stole my listing. No, you never had it. And Robert earned it because he asked for the business and you didn't. What is stopping you from hiring me today, right now? What else? Oh, I need to paint the home. I need this. I need that. Oh my gosh, Curbio's fantastic. And you know what? It won't be money out of your pocket. It'll come out at closing. Oh, you need a new roof? Curbio is fantastic. And they'll put a new roof on it and blah, blah, blah. Hey, by the way, you think a kitchen, I think if you had an updated kitchen, this house would sell way above more. Well, let's get Curbio in here. See, Curbio is a company that will come and do renovations and not charge their seller a penny until the closing. Are you representing your client well enough to know what the options are? What's your selling proposition? Oh my gosh, we have contractors that'll come in and do some renovations for you and you don't have to pay till closing. That's my selling proposition because the other realtor doesn't know about it. Curbio, Curbio. Put it in your selling proposition. And they're nationwide, guys. As a matter of fact, what you need to do is you need to go to Curbio and get a contact for your local area. Now, are they a little more expensive? They might be in some areas. But you know what? It's not taking, some sellers don't have a darn penny. They have no money. That's why they get raped at the closing table, because someone comes in and offers them so much less and they can't, they just couldn't do the repairs because they didn't have the money, or their parents passed away, or it was a divorce, or whatever it may be. Nobody should lose money. And if they're in your care, this is an opportunity for you to bring more value to them. Hey, Todd, what are some things I should do to make my home look better? You know what? If you got new flooring, new carpet, a new AC, a new water heater, and a beautiful fresh coat of paint in here, this home would sell so much more, so much faster. I don't have any money. That's listen, I understand. Money is tight for a lot of people right now. Let's call my contractor Curbio and have them come out and give us an evaluation. Okay. If you didn't just say that was the best part of today, shame on you, because it was. It really is, guys. So the house up the road from me smelled like cat pee. It was a beautiful home from the exterior. The walls were disgustingly dirty. The carpet looks like there was mud dragged into this home. We're talking 3,000 square feet that should have sold for 700. It sold for 580. Right, Ali, right on Luna Bella. It was a big home. I don't know if you've seen it. People will walk in there and they leave throwing up. It smelled so bad of cat, and the AC wasn't running. So, you know, they could have had Curbio come in and put paint, new carpet, and maybe cleaned out those air ducts. It probably would have cost them, I don't know, 15 grand, but they lost over $100,000. And then they damaged the pricing of our community. All right. So that's a big key. The lack of a selling proposition. What is your selling proposition? I highly recommend that you go to, if anybody's not with EXP, if you are with EXP, go to EXP Marketing Center. I'm sorry, Enterprise, and then scroll to the bottom to the Marketing Center, go to presentations and do a listing presentation and edit the forms. You can edit everything and add stuff in. Todd Mikan has a team, all right? He's not a solo brand new agent. He has a team. He has Tom, he has blah, blah, blah. He has blah, blah, blah. So make sure your selling proposition isn't, well, I'm brand new and I'm going to work hard. They don't need to know that you're brand new. So when you're going in with your marketing presentation, that you have a team of people working with you. So it's just like how I helped one of the young ladies get a listing. It'll be listed either next week or the week after. They told her they didn't want to hire her because she was brand new. She goes, well, listen, my mentor, Tom, has been in the business 24 years. Would you meet with him? I meet with him. He was one of my son's best friends. And he's like, sure. So utilize your organization to help you get business too. So what's your selling proposition? So number one is market knowledge. Number two, selling proposition. Number three, marketing plan. A marketing plan. What is your marketing plan? I'm going to give you a couple ideas. National Association of Realtors says if a home that's listed Thursday evening sells faster than any other home listed any other day. List on a Thursday at 4 or 5 o'clock, have your photos ready, blah, 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 input, open house the weekend, do a property boost. 40, 50 people show up through the weekend. Here's my aggressive, I call it, this is what I've always called it. Here is my very aggressive marketing plan to get as many people in your home as possible within the next 4 to 5 days. And then we're gonna know what the market really is for your home. We had a darn home, 100,000 overpriced. He promised me he'd lower it in 30 days. We had it in writing and we sold that darn home. It's closing next one. It's closing for 75,000 over the value. And Bill, trust me, there's other inventory on the market. I had other agents call me and go, what did they sell for? Because my home's still on the market. I said, have your seller call me. I don't know. I can help them. Maybe you can't. Oh, by the way, when it goes expired, I'm calling them. No, I didn't say that. But here's the thing. What is your unique selling proposition? What is your marketing proposition? Hey, you know what? When we list this home, we have this amazing system that I'm going to boost your property out. That's going to, thousands and thousands of people are going to see it. Not only is Realtor.com and Zillow and all the Redfin's going to see it, but it's going to be pushed out through Google Pay per click for $45 for 3 days. And you get leads. You get leads. They might not be great. Who knows? They may be great. You get leads and you copy your seller and go, look, we actually had online 6,000 people look at your property and we had, I don't know, 5,000 clicks or whatever it is. I promised you. So I had a seller say, this company 72 sold, so they can sell my house in 72 hours. I said, list with them for 3 days, 72 sold, list with them. And if they don't sell it within 3 days, call me and we'll list it. I'm confident that what they're telling you on how their marketing plan is not in today's market. It might have worked 18 months ago, but it doesn't work. Hey, Ariel. Hey, Deep. No, another name, Deep. So there's Ariel. And we were talking about being a listing agent versus a buyer's agent and the longevity in the business and why a lot of people are not taking listings. And it comes down to 5 things. So have a marketing plan that gains the seller's confidence. And by the way, it's not about gaining the seller's confidence as much as it is you being confident. Hey, you know what, Ariel, thank you for your time. I wish you the best. I gotta go. See you later. See, there's 3 things that are going to happen today. Number 1, you're going to hire me. That's going to be great. Number 2, you're not going to hire me. And I'm just going to ask why. And number 3, you're going to want to hire me. And I'm going to have to tell you no now so I don't let you down later. I cannot meet your expectations. So I'm going to have to say, sorry, I can't help you. When you can be brave, and by the way, that's not being brave. That's being honest with yourself and honest with the consumer. Right? You've got money invested. You've got time invested. Why go out and take a listing? You know that's not going to sell because you bought it by telling them you can sell it for way more. And then you're paying money for photos and blah, 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 and all this stuff. You know, you're a real estate professional. If you go to a doctor and he tells you got a tumor and it has to be removed, and you say, well, I'm going to go cut it myself. I'll cut it out myself. I don't need you. Or you want the best doctor to get it so there's not a big hole, right? And I had this tumor cut out of my arm from here to here. And I'm thinking, I said, Dr. Ramshaw, so when you cut that thing out, do I need to go see a plastic surgeon after because it's going to leave a massive hole? He goes, absolutely not. He goes, I'm the best surgeon there is out there, and you're going to be in great care. I said, all right, doc, thanks. And it was a tumor, literally 7 inches long, 5 inches diameter, and I did not have a hole in my arm. So he promised. So be confident in your proposition. Okay.
Hey, Tom,
Yeah.
can you repeat the 3 outcomes, please, for us?
Oh, yeah. You ready? And by the way, this is nothing I created. This is nothing I ever created. And Debbie Latuga, being a ex-Bull coach, will tell you that Diana Kokoska would put, this is exactly what she would say when she knock on a door, right? She says, I own this listing. I'm taking this listing. She'd knock on the door and she said, oh, hey, Claire, thank you for allowing me to come and list your home today. 3 things are going to happen. Number 1, see what she said? Allow me to list your home. So she's putting it in her head. 3 things are going to happen today. Number 1, you're going to hire me. That's going to be great. Number 2, you're not going to hire me. I'm just going to ask you why and thank you for the opportunity. Number 3, you're going to want to hire me and I'm going to have to tell you no so I don't let you down later. And that might be as verbatim as you can never imagine. Deb, is that pretty close?
Spot on. Spot on.
So guys, I learned, and I didn't rip off and duplicate. I learned from some of the best in the industry. And by the way, her husband, Tony DeCello, came from Mike Ferry. Okay, so he was one of the top coaches with the company. And these 2 duels were the best coaches in the world. And I never forgot what they tell me because it worked. All right. And then Diana, I was in a I don't know what it was, some kind of training. And she said, and this is where I got it from. Is there anything stopping you from hiring me today, right now? Sign here, press hard, because it's going to go through 3 copies, right? That's when we used to have carbon copies and everything else. Deep is shaking his head. So, number 4, the lack of focusing on listings. See, if you want listings, focus on it. But you got to do the work too. Focus on listings. Does your database have more potential buyers or more homeowners? See, when you sell to buyers, what happens when they want to sell? When you represent a buyer, they become a seller for the future. But you don't follow up with them, you don't put them in a database, and you lose contact with them, and they don't even know who you are 3 months later. Focus on listings starts in 2 areas: marketing, your outbound prospecting calls. The marketing change begins with a shift of focus to geographic farming, predictive data analytics for listing lead generation areas. So when you're doing open houses, are you knocking on those doors? Yeah, Liz is. And Liz is, by the way, guys, I would, if I'm going to probably pull Liz's numbers and see what her percentage is up year over year in a declining market. She's taken every opportunity to keep moving forward in our current market, where most people are sitting there waiting for the easy button. And the easy button is called work. You know what? The easy button is going to Home Depot and Lowe's work and everything. Nothing wrong with that job. And actually, they give great health benefits and everything else. But stop complaining about the market and the interest rates and just do your darn job. Focus on listings. Are you calling for sale by owners? Yes, I understand there's a lot of lawsuits going on right now with Keller Williams right now for cold calling, but it's different the way they're calling. They're calling and dropping messages through robot systems, right? But if you actually make a phone call and you're not soliciting and you're following the script, there's no lawsuit. You're asking them questions. It's a survey. And if you don't want to make the call, and by the way, there's some great agents in Canada. You cannot call for sale by owners and expireds up in Canada. I believe that's what you cannot call them, right? So knock on the doors. Are you afraid to get up out of your seat and go down the road and knock on a door? Hey, I noticed you had your home for sale by owner. I wanted to drop off some of my partner's cards. They're a title company and a lender. You're going to need these. And by the way, here's my safety form for sale by owners. I'd love for you to have this so you can protect your family. Where's that safety form? It's in the GPS icon in Workplace. And just type in safety form on the forms or files or whatever it is. And Robert put it in as a Word doc so you can actually put your branding information in there. Okay. Geographic farm area. You gotta, listen, if you live in a community where you have, let's say 200 homes, and just send out a monthly postcard that just says, hey, summer's coming. Hey, hurricane season's coming. Prep stuff, right? That's all it is. There's tons of marketing cards, postcards inside of our EXP marketing, and you can put the community in there and send out the postcards and everything else. A postcard a month to your geographic farm with your lender and title participating in the cost because they're putting their logos on it. Boom, guys, you're not going to see results day 1, but you may see results month 6 or 7. So Jill's not on here. Jill sold the property, and I told her, I said, send out a postcard that was quick. She got 2 more listings. 2 more listings. And then the guy in the community that sells most of the homes in there says, Kevin goes, he goes, how did you get all those listings? And I said, she did something you don't do. You just assume people are going to come running to you, but you're not giving them anything of value anymore. You cannot stop. Jenny Weimer is the best at that, and she will tell you community after community after community. She invests in those communities and everything else. So she geographic farms. And if you don't have to be a geographic farmer to grow a massive listing business, but you definitely want to be sending something out to at least your neighbors. Every month I get one of my neighbors when I'm walking my big dog that's 11 pounds and maybe has a dress on and everything else. And I always have someone that says, oh, I love that postcard you sent. Thank you. 4th of July one's going out. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you for the holiday greetings card. And I like sending Christmas cards, but I send out holiday cards now. So I want to respect all religions and everything. So I don't stop sending things out just because I'm not selling, because my wife can sell. So I just send it out once a month, and it costs a little bit of money, and it's marketing costs, and we write it off. So I'm gonna go back. 5 reasons you don't have a listing business, or 5 reasons you do, right? You have to have market knowledge. Study the market, right? Study the market. I'm not saying sit home all day long, study the market and then go out. Study the market as you go along. If it's a for sale by owner, say, I'd love to do a market analysis on your home and give it to you free of charge. It won't cost you anything, and I have no expectations. Learn the market, right? A selling proposition. Many agents don't even have a listing presentation. Period. And I used to have a stress-free cancellation clause in my my marketing plan. By the way, Debbie, I have a stress-free cancellation. And if you decide that I'm not doing my job, you can fire me at any given time, 0 penalty. Do you know how many people I've talked to that said, I hired ABC Realty and they want to charge me $2,000 to get out of my contract? And I said, what have they done wrong? What did they tell you they would do that they haven't done? Write all that down, and I'll call the Board of Realtors, and then have the Board of Realtors contact their broker. And I guarantee it gets released. Boom, it's released. You can't hold someone hostage if you're, see, the consumer gets scared because you threaten them into holding them into a financial situation that you have no right to. I tell everyone all the time, oh my gosh, call the Board of Realtors and tell them that the agent's not representing you. Matter of fact, if you go to the Beeper and you go here, you can file a complaint online right there. Hey, Debbie, you don't want to let me out? You haven't done all the things you've done. I'm going to the Beeper, I'm going to the Board of Realtors, and I'm going here. You willing to let me out right now? Because if you're not, I'm doing it right now. Okay, boom, done. You won't have an issue, I promise you. Just make sure you go, hey, if I ever was to, how do I usually say it? I always tell people, hey, listen, I'm going to tell you, this is what I would do as a consumer. I would go to the Board of Realtors, I would file a complaint online, and I would do this. If I was a consumer not being represented properly, this is what I would do. Because you don't want to interfere with the transaction, because then it could be a problem. So you want to just go, if I was a consumer, this is what I would do. That's what I would say. All right. So the selling proposition, number 2. Number 3, have a marketing plan that gains the seller confidence. Okay. Number 4, focus. Focus on listings. What you focus on expands, right? Focus on listings. I'm getting a listing today. I'm getting a listing today. If you say that every single day, you might not get a listing every day, but you might get 1 a week, and that's 4 a month. That's 48 a year. That you've gotten, way more than you did previous years. And then get a geographic farm and just really nail into it, guys. So what if everything that we talked about right now worked? Would you do it? Well, here's the facts. If you did it and you did it consistently, it works. Nobody goes on a diet, eats a salad, and it gets the results they want in one day. It takes time. A friend of mine will go, oh, I'm on a diet. I said, oh, how long you been on it? Oh, about 3 months. I'm only eating salads, this and that. And they load it up with all this ranch dressing and all this other stuff on top. I'm like, what the heck? You're not going to get no wonder you're not getting the results you want, right? It's the same thing in our business. Consistency, persistence will equal success, but you have to be willing to do the work properly. See, you could be out there consistently looking for sellers, but if you don't have a good selling proposition and you're not asking for the business, you're not going to get it. So you will get results, which is 0. Or you might get lucky. And someone says, sure, I'll hire you. By the way, when I was calling for sale by owners and expireds, sometimes when they told me, yeah, send over the listing paperwork, I want to do it right now. I'm ready. I'm like, all right, something's fishy here. I never get that, but you will get it sooner or later. You will get it. The more you do it, the more confident you are. And by the way, your confidence goes through the phone. They know your level of confidence right when you make that phone call. If you start stuttering, you're done. I used to do this. Be conscious of that, because that creates a lack of confidence. You're unsure what you're going to say. You're looking for validation in what you're saying. So just be conscious of the words that you use, record yourself, and then go out and nail it. All right, guys, this is your time. It's 9:10. I hope that you got a lot out of there. I have not looked at all the questions in the chat box. Debbie, please jump in. They love hearing from you. Guys, those of you who showed up today, I have a lot of, I just want to say thank you for showing up to better your business today. I show up, Debbie shows up, Claire shows up. All of you are showing up to make a difference, either for yourself or for others. I'm showing up to make a difference for you guys. And by the way, by me showing up for this helps me become better and more purposeful on why I do what I do. So those of you who show up and get value out of this, I just want to say congratulations and thank you. And by the way, if you're not taking advantage of the relationships that you can create in this room right now, you are missing the biggest opportunity. All right.
Hey, Tom, one of the things that I was thinking about, and this stuff, it's like all gold, and yet it's nothing that we didn't know. But when we can condense this information into a time frame, it makes it easier to consume and it helps us to get into action. But you shared quite a few things. And I know my experience can be when I hear a lot of things, I struggle to take action, right? I struggle to say, well, I got to know the market, and I got to knock on doors, and I got to do market analysis, and I got to do, and I got to get a listing presentation, and I can be overwhelmed. So that's normal. And the benefit of coming to these calls is to help you kind of cut through the clutter and to take action. A quick tip that we taught in Bold for market analysis. Do you need to know the market of a specific neighborhood? Yes, you did. But do it today. Go into your MLS today. Go find the reports section and go pull a report. I don't care, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever you want to do, but pull it for all price ranges. Sometimes Florida sends it out to everyone, but that's for the whole state, and you really want to see it for your market. So there's reports in your MLS. Go pull a report that shows market data of what's happened in the last X period of time, right? All price points. Swear to God, just go line by line by line. This won't take you more than, it might take you an hour to an hour and a half, line by line, and look at the data. Once you've looked at each line, left to right, 200,000, what's happening there? 250, what's happening there? 300,000, maybe houses and condos are broken up separately. Look at each line. Then I want you to sit back and look at the document and say, what story is this telling me? What snippets? You can come up with 2 or 3 snippets of information that when you are out there in the world or knocking on a door, you're able to pull that forward. And that was a session of Bold that we asked people to actually do an analysis and actually write down things and do math and that kind of stuff. So here's something that you might notice. Up and until the $700,000 range, we have 2.4 months of inventory. Well, what does that mean? You can't say to the seller or the buyer, we have 2.4 months of inventory because they don't know what that means. Well, what that means is we are under 700,000, hot seller's market, hot, because we have more demand than supply. That's the snippet that you repeat over and over and over again. And then every quarter or every 6 months, you pull the document again and see if the story's still the same. Now, maybe you're what's happening in the over 700,000 market? Oh, we're at a 5-month inventory. And do you know that over 700,000, we are still in a pretty hot market. It's a little bit longer. Houses stay on the market a little bit long. Do you know those two things? If you were to say those two things to a seller, you just demonstrated your value proposition that no other realtor out there is talking about. And it's two simple things, and it's almost idiot proof, right? What did you tell them? What you told them is, I spent 20 minutes, I looked at a farm, I learned some stuff, and I'm sharing it with you. They don't know that. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know that, right? And whatever it is that you learn, pick 2 or 3 sentences, an analysis of what's going on in different price points that you could just spit out, because the people that you meet will be blown away that you're a researcher. Yeah, it took me an hour. And that's because someone told me to do it. Right. But you can look really, really smart. You know, it doesn't matter which neighborhood. You didn't do the analysis for the neighborhood, but you're knocking on the door and they're like, well, what's happening with the market? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked. I don't know specifically for your neighborhood. I'm willing to go and do that research for you. But I was doing some research last week. And did you know that houses under 700,000, that market is like still on fire, but the news isn't talking about that. And nobody's really talking about that. But the average home is selling in 30 to 60 days. It's crazy. And you know, over 700,000, it's still a very hot market, and they're selling on average between 4 and 5 months. Hot market. And yet the news is all saying market crash, prices are decreasing. It's just not really true. Hey, could I do an analysis for your home? Let you know where you're sitting right now. Would you find that valuable? So that's something that when I was actively selling, I would do about every 6 months. Just get some general talking points, 2 or 3, and I'd repeat them over and over and over and over again, right? The second thing, so that's one thing that you could do, an action step that you could take that won't take a lot of time, that will set your perceived skill in the top 10%. Because I would argue right now, I could go out and talk to the top 10% of agents and they wouldn't have something. Some of them, maybe half of them, would have that specific information. Do you know how valuable that is to a consumer when all the media is saying, market's crashing, nobody's buying, you're losing value in your home? That's what they're hearing. Nobody is talking. Now, maybe that's not the truth. Maybe it's 7 months. You know what that means? Half the houses go under contract faster and half go under contract longer. But that's still, you know, a pretty good market, right? So being able to share the truth of what's happening educates them in a way and blows them away with your knowledge and expertise. And you only need 2 pieces of information. Number 2 is that listing presentation. And Tom is smooth as butter. And you might be looking at Tom and going, I can never be as good as Tom. And it feels so hard. Pick an accountability buddy. Pick someone in this group, someone you have a relationship, and commit to sharing your listing presentation, just running through, not a lot of time for feedback, but running through the script once a week. Just once a week, spend an hour on the phone. You do yours, they do theirs. You give some critique and feedback. It doesn't take a whole lot of time. And you may not be better this week or next week, but in 30 days, you're going to be significantly better. In 60 days, you're really going to get good. In 90 days, you're going to get incredible. And then once you have kind of mastered what you say, you can then start helping each other with overcoming objections and using language patterns like tie downs and asking for the close, right? So those 2 things can really accelerate. You won't be great at your listing presentation in 1 week, but if you start today, in 90 days, you'll be pretty close to Tom. So there's 2 quick action steps that you can take that will significantly improve your results. One is being seen like an expert without having to know everything about every home in every neighborhood. And then the other thing, getting good at what you say to a seller, because Tom's right, the average agent does a listing presentation like this. Hi, I'm awesome. My company's awesome. And everything I do is awesome. And you should work with me. And I'm saying 80% of your competitors, that's their listing presentation. They might draw some things and they might show some comps, but they don't have a skilled listing presentation. And if you did that one thing for your business, it's going to put you in the top 10% of all the agents. And I mean top percent in not as the highest producing, but the highest percentage of sellers that are actually willing to work with you. Tom, I like to add something to that 30 days, no penalty, you can cancel anytime. I actually include, and I may decide, because I'm an expert in the market, that you aren't willing to do the things that I know that's going to cause you to sell your home. So it's a 2-way cancellation process, because they've never considered that you might fire them. So when it's not just you can cancel at any time. The reason I include that is because I've worked with sellers before that are really unreasonable, and I'm sure you're not. And I'm looking at the market and I'm looking at analysis, and I'm the expert, and I've been doing this a long time. And I'm saying, gosh, we need to lower the price. And the sellers don't want to. And then their house doesn't sell. And you know who they blame? Me. And yet I gave them the expert advice that they were unwilling to take. So I have this pain-free cancellation clause to protect you and me. I saw DJ. Robert, I see your hand. DJ's had her hand up for just a bit. Go ahead, DJ.
Awesome. Forget button again.
What
So-
lake are you at, DJ? Because that's a beautiful scenery right there. What lake are you?
It's a EXP backdrop. Isn't that cool? I just have a suggestion. If you take what Debbie just told you, and you take that information, and then you run the property profiles for 20 people around your house, just 20 people, and you put that and you print it out and you put a note on it, a little Post-it note that says, I don't know if you know, I'm a realtor. I live at such and such place, and I ran the numbers for my house and I was blown away. So I wanted you to know what's going on in our neighborhood. Put a business card in there, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and send it out. Cost you less than $12, a little bit of time. You got time now, do something. I promise you, somebody's going to call you. That's all it takes. Get started.
Or door knock it and hand it to them.
Door knock and hand it to them.
There's a great exercise too, guys. It's called listings needed analysis. Based on the way the market is, the days on market and everything else, I knew how many listings I need to have active at all times to achieve my goal. So there's I can find it, but it's called listings needed analysis. So if your goal is X amount of dollars per year, based on the market conditions of on the market 60 days average, and it'll tell you exactly how many listings you need to have, how many listings you need sold. So listings needed analysis. Robert.
All right, so I got kind of a tip to help a lot of agents. I got this from a different few sources between, Mentor Paul and the Ferry organization, etc. And, it kind of goes when you're in the appointment, how many agents do you think are active versus passive agents? And do you know what that means? A passive agent is someone who's going to sign your listing, put it on the MLS, wait to field calls, and do nothing else. Active agents are going to be the ones who circle prospect, invite neighbors to open houses, etc. I'm an active agent. I'm going to go ahead and take your listing and make sure we do our very best to sell it. And you want to know how I'm going to guarantee that is when we sign the listing agreement here, it's going to be for 6%. But if I get both sides, I'm going to drop the commission percentage to 4.5. What's that do? It helps you and it helps me for my extra hard work.
Now, I got something for you on that, Robert. I'm just gonna piggyback on that. If you are doing that, that is called a variable listing, and it is a mandatory disclosure in your MLS, right? Because if Robert lists the property and then gets a buyer and Claire brings a buyer, then we need to know what he's reducing his commission at in order for our buyer to be treated equally. You must disclose. If you choose to do that, remember, now, this is a good tip for you guys. If you're working with a buyer, and always ask the agent, I know you're in multiple offers, are you representing any of the buyers? Yes, fantastic. Are you given a discount on your commission to make the deal work? I need to know that so my buyer has the same opportunity. I'm not telling you that. Fantastic, I'll call your broker right now.
Yeah, and in the MLS, you'll see that in the sections, it'll say variable/dual rate.
Yep, but most
And if
people.
they don't have that, then they screwed up on their advertising policy.
Yeah, and a lot of agents won't put it on the MLS that way, and they'll refuse to disclose it to you, and that it is a mandatory thing, guys. It is. So I always did that as well. I always did a discount if we brought in the buyer, and we would do. I used to do 6410. 6410, and they'd say, well, what's the zero? I said, well, that's not working together. And what's the 1%? The 1%.
To run the paperwork if you find someone.
The 1% is my consultation fee if you sell it on your own. And then the 4% is if we bring the buyer, and the 6%. And most of the time it was between 6 and 7, Robert, back then, as far as the commission. So I used to do a 0, 1, 4, 6, and they'd always go, I want the 0. I'm like, fantastic. We're not working together.
You
Hey,
can
hey,
do
Tom.
that. I just wanted to say, I don't discount my commission because my 30 years in real estate, if I bring the buyer, it's because of my hard work and expertise. Now, I'm not saying never. If they ask, if they request, if I have a relationship with them, I will consider it. But I don't make that. Tom, I can help you with that script so that you don't have to discount your work.
Yeah, and that's so critical, important. My coach told me never to do it. You
Hey,
know,
Tom, let me share something that I learned this week, which is so interesting to me. I was talking to a marketing consultant, and he was telling me that he's been working with a company that we all know, but not us. And they're required to do all their marketing using the same colors, the same format, everything, always looking the same. And so when they do the social media, when they do their signs, when they do everything, it all looks the same. And so when they brought him in and he told them that they needed to change all of that, they told him, oh, no, consistency sells property. And he said, what I see is I look at this and I say, oh, they're all the same. So I just need to find out which one's the cheapest. So that was an eye opener for me. It's like, okay, yeah, consistency is important, but it should be your marketing consistency, not everybody else's. So is that interesting?
that is very, yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, there's so much opportunity in our world today with sellers and buyers. And, you know, if people think the market's going to crash and the buyers don't want to buy, I've seen that in there, gives you an amazing opportunity to go reach out to 1 million sellers and say, hey, what do you think's happening to the market? Well, we think the market's going down. Fantastic. Let's sell your home while it's high, and then find you a home that when it crashes, you know, in a week or two. How's that? Whatever. So there's always a way to look at it, right? Oh, Do you feel like the market's going down? Yeah, well, if you could get more money now to sell now, why don't you do it now? Urgency, create urgency. So what do you feel about the market? What do you think the buyers think? Oh, the market's crashing. Fantastic. Let's sell your home now so you don't lose any more money. They told you the market's going the other way. You didn't give them financial advice that it was going the other way. Lizette,
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I just want to it's just a reminder. I think one of the biggest things for me in my business is that, remember to love on the people that know and love your database, going back to sphere of influence. Because when you get a referral for a listing from somebody that knows you, you usually don't have to juggle with commission. For me, that's my struggle. My struggle now is I'm cold calling and talking to people, right? So I'm learning a new skill set to work with people that don't know me and do the things and ask, talk about commission. But when you work with Sphere, I got accustomed to, it's really easy. It's like, oh, here, just sign here, da, da, da. You know what I mean? So I just want a reminder to work your Sphere, because when real estate gets tough or these markets get tough, you'll notice that you're going to get business and everybody else is struggling. You're going to get business so much easier because you've given love to the people that are around you. Just a
Correct.
reminder.
yeah. Yep. Our repeat customers never talk about commission. Our repeat customers, we got this one customer that has bought and sold from $1 million homes, multi-million-dollar homes to investment properties, never once questioned our commission rates, ever. And then he'd always ask us, are they fairly compensating you on the buyer side? If not, let me know what I need to do to make up the difference. And I would never tell him to. I would just say, oh yeah, it's fair. Even if it was 1%, I wouldn't say anything to him, because we got so much business from him. And he never, and by the way, his sister-in-law is a top RE/MAX agent. Yeah.
Hey, Tom, I want to piggyback on Lizette. On Wednesday's calls, last 2 weeks, we've been talking about the call reluctance and the feelings of futility, and how the feelings of futility is based on a lie, based on fear. So if you're not working your sphere of influence, and that's a number one focus, can you imagine a dentist office never having the same customers? They always have to go out and get new customers, never any repeat customers or a relationship with people. Business can't be built without a loyal base. And so, Lizette, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is such a much easier way to do it. Number one. Number two, overcome that call reluctance, because if not, you're living your life, you're living your business on a lie. Because the call reluctance, feelings of futility, is based on fear, right? And fear, we know, is a lie. And so, and the only thing is love or fear. So if you're not making the calls, that means you're in fear. If you're making the calls, that means because you love your business, you love yourself, you love people. You say you love people, you got in the business because you love people, but yeah, you don't call them. So think about that monkey mind, right? So we've been doing that on Wednesdays the last couple of weeks. And Lizette, I'm so glad you spoke up, because that is so critical. Liz, just a quick question. She had such a phenomenal, I forget, 6 listing, whatever it was, in one day or something. How many of that was repeat business Wednesday when we spoke about your deal? How much of that was sphere of influence?
It actually, I think it was all of them that were SOI. Yeah, so all of them came from my SOI, but guess what, guys? The SOI are agents who sent me business. So your SOI doesn't just consist of the people that that aren't agents. Your sphere of influence are also other agents in other areas. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. And that was like, I don't know, what was that day you took? How many listings you took? How many buyers you wrote on?
Yeah, so we went on 3 listing appointments, which turned into 6 listings. Got 2 buyers out of it within 48 hours. So it was an incredible 2 days. So I'm excited for this.
And been in business for 3 years, right? You're in business.
Been in business for 5 years.
5 years.
However, full time for 3.
Wow. So just to Lizette's point, that's so important, Tom. Right? That's good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Listen, I appreciate everyone that showed up today. Hopefully this is something of value to you. Go get your fair share of listings. If the buyers say the market's going down, go after more sellers and ask them, well, do you think the market's going up or down? And if they say down, say, well, let's sell your home now so you get more money. Whatever they tell you, work with it. So what do you think the buyers are thinking? Oh, it's going down. Fantastic. Let's sell it now so you don't lose any money. Right. So there's always a way to approach sellers. You just have to be willing to be bold enough to ask the right questions and be prepared. You got to be prepared. So, all right, Tiff, this is your time after hour.